This is the video notes for topic 5, factoring when your a value is not equal to 1. So the first thing you look for when you factor anything is if you can take a GCF out of the whole thing. So in this particular example, all of those terms are divisible by 2. So we are going to first factor out a2. When we factor it out, 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. So when we factor out that 2, we can actually see that this trinomial can be factored just like how we've done it before, where we look for things that multiply to negative 8, but add to positive 2. So factors of negative 8 are 1, 8, 2, and 4, but one of those has to be negative, and so we'll do that. We'll add negative 1 and 8, and negative 2 and positive 4. So which set of those factors add to positive 2? The last set. Negative 2 plus 4 is positive 2. So we take those numbers. So we still have the 2 on the outside. Don't forget about it. And we can factor this to x minus 2, x plus 4. And we are done. Everything in that is linear, so we are completely finished. In our second example, we have a case where we can't factor something out of it, but we can't do the same method. I have a different method that I like to teach, so if you do not like what I'm doing, you can watch a different video, but I'm going to show you the box method. So what we do is we make a square with 4 little squares inside of it. What happens is you take the first term and put it in the first box, which is 2x squared. Then you take the constant and put it in the last box, which is positive 1. So if our generic formula is ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are constants, this means our a value is 2, our b value is 3, and our c value is 1. I just pulled those from my coefficients of these 3 terms. So what we do is we multiply a times c. When we multiply 2 times 1, we get positive 2. So we're looking for factors of positive 2 that add to our b value, which is positive 3. So factors of 2 are 1 and 2, or negative 1 and negative 2. The only set that adds to 3 are 1 and 2. So what we do is we take these numbers and we put them inside of our box. So we have a 1x, and I just put the x term, and a 2 with the x as well. So when we look at our box, we have 2x squared plus 1x plus 2x, which gives us that 3x that we see up there, plus 1. So what we see inside the box is exactly the same as what we see for example 2. So now what we do is we factor out the GCF to the left and then to the top. So we'll look at the GCF of the bottom row. 2x and plus 1, they don't have anything in common, so the only thing that we could pull out is a positive 1. If we look at the top row, 2x squared and 1x, we can pull out an x. I'm sorry, positive 1 that we pull out down there. If we look vertically, we can see that 2x squared and 2x, we can pull out a 2x. And then vertically on the right side, 1x and 1, I can pull out a positive 1. So what I see on the side and on the top are the two binomials, the factored version. So my solution is 2x plus 1 times x plus 1. So we're going to do another example of it on the next page. Alright, so the first step that we do in the box method is take our first term and put it in the first square of the box, and then our last term and put it in the last square of the box. Remember that the signs are very important. Then we can identify what our a, b, and c values are. My a is positive 3, my b is positive 4, and my c is negative 4. So on the side, we multiply a times c. That is 3 times negative 4. So we're looking for factors that multiply to negative 12, but add to our b term, which is positive 4. Factors of negative 12 are 1 and negative 12, negative 1 and positive 12, 2 and negative 6, negative 2 and positive 6, and I can actually stop there because when I add those two, I get positive 4. So I take negative 2 and 6 and put them in the box along with the x because that is their label. Negative 2x and 6x. It does not matter which box you put these two in. I could have put 6x there and negative 2x there and we would still get the same answer. So from here, 3x squared minus 2x plus 6x minus 4 is equal to what we have before. We just split up that middle term. So now all we have to do is factor to the left. So we'll start with the bottom of the box. 6x and negative 4. The greatest common factor is positive 2. If we look at the top row, factor out to the left. 3x squared and negative 2x, I can take out an x. If we look vertically on the left, 3x squared and 6x, I can pull out a 3, and I can also pull out an x. And last but not least, negative 2 and negative 4, they are both negative, so I can pull out a negative, and they are both divisible by 2. So I can take my binomial here and my binomial here, and I write them as a product of each other. So 3x minus 2 times x plus 2 will give me the factored version of what I have above. And if you it's always good to check to make sure that it FOILs back out. So if you want to, you can do that. I would like you to do both of the U-tries at the bottom of this page, and that will conclude your homework for tonight.